someone was asking me the other day, what's the difference between the RGB Super Bundle and the MAPS Super Bundle? Right? Because those are the two most popular ones.
What is the difference, Sal?
The difference between the two things, Justin.
Yeah.
The RGB Super Bundle includes MAPS Anabolic, MAPS Performance, and MAPS Aesthetic. Those are the core programs that we offer, and we recommend people follow them in order. So you start with MAPS Anabolic. When you finish that program, which is about 3 months, then you move on to MAPS Performance. You finish that program. Then you move on to MAPS Aesthetic. And remember, each of the MAPS programs are broken up into phases. So you actually have like 3 different types of workouts in each one of those programs. Actually, MAPS Performance has 4.
Yeah.
4 different types of workouts. You follow all of them. It's about 9 months of exercise programming. Phenomenal. Great combination. Now, the MAPS Super Bundle takes it a step further and includes MAPS Anywhere, which is our equipment-free MAPS program, which a lot of people I'm hearing now like to use that as a bridge. Mm-hmm. So what they're doing is they're going MAPS Anabolic, which is obviously a lot of it's in the gym or working out with weights, then doing MAPS Anywhere and doing it at home, then finishing that and going into MAPS Performance, and they keep injecting it in between the core MAPS programs, and people are getting great results with that. It also includes MAPS Prime. Now, MAPS Prime includes what we call a compass test, and this is a self-assessment tool, and it helps you identify parts of your body that need more work with fortification sessions, and it helps you design your own priming sessions. Now, priming is what you do before your workout, and believe it or not, it has a tremendous impact on the effectiveness of the workout that you're about to do. For example, if you prime properly, you'll get into your squats and you'll feel them differently. Muscles will fire better. You'll get better connectivity, better recruitment patterns, and of course, that all leads to
better results.
So that's the MAPS Super Bundle. Now, this month, enroll in either one of those, and we're going to throw in, for free, the No BS Six-Pack Formula, which is a program for your core training, and our nutrition and fasting guides. So you get all that for free for enrolling in either one of those programs. And you can find all of this at mindpumpmedia.com.
T-shirt time.
How many reviews?
How many reviews did we get?
Did we get
15?
15 reviews.
We're always right around that 50.
It's all right.
That's not bad.
That's good.
Not too bad.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
It's pretty crazy how like consistent that is.
It's okay.
15 to 20.
Are they the same people, or are these all new people?
No, they have to be new, right?
That's
Doug?
great.
I think they're new.
I don't know.
Different names.
I know.
Yeah,
I feel like sometimes.
I know some people, like I got a guy who inboxed me and he says, I've left a ton of reviews and I haven't got a shirt yet. I'm like, wait a second.
So do they just
I
keep
appreciate the
adding
hustle, though.
to the bottom?
Yeah.
Do we just keep getting, or do they erase the old review and put the new one in? That's the question.
It'd be really interesting to see how that works.
Yeah, to see if people are trying
I
to
don't
game
know.
the
Yeah.
system.
Right.
Hey, look, your odds of winning a T-shirt.
The numbers keep increasing, though. The overall numbers keep increasing.
Well, here you go, cheaters. Go ahead, Doug.
We just handed you
I don't
the
think
playbook.
any of these people are cheaters.
Hey, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying.
Yeah, there you words to live by.
That's right.
All right, 4 shirts are going out, starting with Shady5925.
Oh, you mean to tell me that
there
guy
we go.
didn't? You mean to tell me he didn't
Listen,
cheat?
he's a trustworthy
That
individual.
motherfucker cheated to get this T-shirt. Give him a T-shirt though for trying.
Not trying. He did it.
He did it.
Next up is Super American Eagle Squadron.
Well,
Fuck yeah! I feel like shoot a gun.
I feel like they were honest.
Yeah.
That's
Next-
the honest guy.
I think they're on. I think they're on to something right now. I think they're starting to find out that Doug picks the names that we like.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Wow,
that's
that's
my
another
only
tactic.
method. Next up is Moon Gazer with a double Z. So it might be Moon
Sal picked that
Gazer.
Ooh, gazer beam.
And then the final one is Jackson C. Will Overcome.
See, will overcome.
You will do it.
That's not
You
that good.
will overcome.
We should start attaching which one is a fan of what. Like the Moon Gazer is definitely a Sal fan.
yeah.
Sal fan. For
You guys
sure.
don't gaze at the moon?
Sal gets all the moon gazers.
I love gazing at them.
Is that all of them, Doug?
That's it.
Is that like the butt?
Where do they got to
snorkel?
go?
They got to send their name, the one I just read, to iTunes at mindpumpmedia.com. Got to send your shirt size, your shipping address, and we'll get that right out to you.
Boom.
Blingo, blango.
We'll hook you up, son.
If you want to pump your body and expand your mind, there's only one place to go. Mind Pump. Mind Pump with your hosts, Sal DiStefano, Adam Schaefer, and Justin Andrews.
The little boy blew the man on the moon. When you're coming home, son, I don't know when. We'll get together then.
Come on, dude.
We'll have a good time then.
Come on, dude.
Dude, that was fucking good.
It's enough.
Why you got to be such a dick, bro?
I'm not. I think
That was
I think
on-
whoever tells you it's good is a dick. I think
Someone's lying to you.
so bad. Someone's lying.
I'm just trying to be your friend and tell you the truth. Whoa! Nice recover there, Doug.
That was cool.
Wow.
Doug almost broke his hip.
He did.
You got some fast moves, Doug. Must be that MAPS.
Cat-like reflexes there.
Must be that MAPS program.
What do we got going on?
I could tell you trained with a good trainer for years.
For years.
With the best trainer.
I don't know about best.
Best.
Can't hear.
Better than average.
Better than the rest. Justin, get on the mic.
Listen, let me give you guys some advice right here.
I feel like Justin's been fucking up.
Take the little bit that you know and forget about it.
Hey, everybody.
Hey.
You guys missed me.
Take
the little bit that you know
Yeah.
and forget everything.
I want to do that.
Words of wisdom.
I want to like speak at a conference and be like the last speaker and go up and be like, okay, everybody,
Listen, forget
everything you've learned at this conference. Up
I know
until
you don't
now,
know a lot. Just forget everything.
Forget all of it.
Yeah, forget
it's
all
all
of that.
bullshit.
Yeah.
I'm about to tell you the shit you need to
I'm
remember.
going to drop some wisdom on you, son.
Just fuck with everybody.
I'm about to give it to you.
Hey,
That's some ancient wisdom.
I want to hear about your Easters.
Post-Easter.
I want to hear about your Easter. What did you do on Easter?
I drove around and did the family thing.
You did it again?
Dude, you know what sucks is when you're a guy in a great relationship and you feel like a divorcee because you have to go drive around to like multiple families on holidays.
That.
Why does that happen to me, dude?
What do you mean?
I didn't fuck up any of my relationships or marriage. Why do I have to be the one that drives?
You got to
around?
share time, man.
Man, it's a
family.
motherfucker.
Wait, how many houses did you go
Well,
to
it's
for
not
Easter?
just 3. But you know what? That's the point is that like Katrina's family is like so rad. They're like bring everybody over. But then my family, you know, everybody
exclusive.
Yeah, my family doesn't like other parts of their own family.
They're dysfunctional?
Yeah, oh totally, right? So they
They put the fun in dysfunctional?
yeah. So I don't know about that. Yeah. Not so much fun.
little bit
in
of a
dysfunction.
stretch.
The funk?
Yeah, so I went
Dysfunctional.
we drove. We rode library. We drove out to Oakdale, which is the cowboy capital of the world. And, yeah, true story.
Might have some Texas listeners right now that'll disagree with you.
Well, that's a fucking. There's a sign that says that when you come in. Yeah, so it's pretty much a fact, right? If you put a sign up in front of the
It says that?
Yeah, it says that.
It says the country capital
No, it says the
World's best
cowboy
coffee.
capital of the world.
of the world?
Cowboy capital of the world.
That's a confident.
It's very confident.
That's a very cocky town.
Do they even
got-
have chaps? Yeah.
Well, they have one of the biggest rodeos there. Oakdale Rodeo is pretty well known.
Fair enough.
Especially for California. You know, obviously, if we're comparing to Texas, Texas is on a whole nother level. But for the most part, even a lot of those guys come up to this rodeo. It's a big rodeo. Anyways, I was in Oakdale. I saw my my mother and her new boyfriend. I met him, and I got to.
This is your first time meeting him?
Yes. I just they're new. They just met on.
What kind of handshake did he have?
Yeah, that's a good question,
You know what I
Justin.
mean? It
Was
determines
it firm?
everything.
Yeah, no, it was good. You know, I think sometimes I know they tell you to
good?
give. No, well, you know, I'm not a huge fan of the over firm handshake. I think it screams insecurity.
No,
Well, that's what I mean. It still determines.
There's
it. Like,
a right-
Does he let you go more firm?
That's why I
or is
said
it
There's
that's-
a right amount.
That's why I said it was right. Like it was a.
the thumb's in the right position.
If
Yeah.
I
doesn't add a little tickle at the end.
if I think about your handshake after you do it, you did something wrong. Like if it made an impression on me, like it was too soft or was too hard, something's wrong.
Did he double fist it? Or
No, he
one?
didn't. What it was
that would've been aggressive.
It was good. It was good because I didn't think about it afterwards. If someone shakes my hand and they do like the tickle, like Justin said, that's really weird. Or they do like
or if
that-
they go like literally shake, like they go up and down. It's like, come on, guy.
Yeah, right.
What are we doing here?
Or they do the grip, like he grabs my hand and he grips me
Like
just
he-
to let
like
me know.
the claws. Like he's digging his
Which
fingers.
I
in
feel
you.
like some men tend to. You know, I'm a 6'3", 230-pound dude, so a lot of times I get sized up by other men. He's 6'5", so he's a big dude. So he's not a little guy. And other big guys have a tendency to want to do that when they meet me, but he was pretty good.
So what do you guys
Okay,
talk
all
about?
right.
How does this work? What do you guys
That's a
talk
good
about?
impression.
It didn't-
Well,
so he didn't hug you.
No, yeah, we don't hug. I just met him, dude. And he's only a 1-month boyfriend. You don't get a hug from me for a
Well,
long
I don't
time.
know. Just
Yeah,
maybe.
No,
He's
no.
at the Easter party.
Adam's hard to get.
He did. He made Easter Sunday at church. You know what I'm saying? So that's a big step in the relationship.
So what
with
do you
my
guys
mom.
talk about then? Are you like, hey?
It's very awkward. You know, what my
Hey,
mom
man.
did. We literally we met there, right, and then we go to church for Sunday for Easter Sunday, and the church that she goes to has like this really nice like buffet area, and they actually have like a little mini Starbucks almost inside the church. It's pretty rad. Church has come a long way since I was going as a kid.
Yeah.
So it's quite the spectacle now. Like plasma TVs everywhere, and you can see like the.
Yeah, I noticed that too. I went
Dude, it's
Saturday,
it's
and I was
legit.
like, "Whoa, this is a full-blown production."
It was, bro. There was lights
Both of you
going
guys,
on.
People are
both of you guys went
dancing
to
and
church.
jumping.
You guys
Yeah.
both went to church.
Well,
Saturday.
yeah. I mean, Justin and I are going to heaven, so I mean,
we pay
of
our
course,
dues.
yeah, exactly, yeah. So, anyways, we're there, and so
Team fireproof.
we get there, and my mom literally. That's right. That's right. Yeah, that's why we don't sit too close to you ever, bro.
Exactly. We're a little bit off, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
You guys will be
off the
bored.
distance from you.
Yeah, whatever, bro.
All the hot chicks are going to hell.
that may be true.
How pissed would we be, right? Son of a
man.
bitch.
Nah.
This is some bullshit.
Yeah.
But I imagine if we're in heaven, we can visit hell. I think that's how it works.
Yeah.
I think if you're in hell, you're
Or maybe
fucked.
you could
You're in
pick
hell.
one. You could be
can't
like,
come
"Hey,
up to
man,
heaven.
let's
but if
make
we're
a
in
deal."
heaven, we can come down to hell.
I want that one.
That's what I think.
wanna
I
bring
think
that
that's
one
what
up
makes
here.
it so heavenly.
think so.
I don't know.
I don't think
Anyways,
that's
we
how
could
it
debate
works.
heaven
May
and hell
taint the
later.
waters. You know?
We go there. So my mom does this, right? So we walk in, and she literally like goes, "Here, talk to Lonnie," and she walks away. I was like, "Oh, that was awkward as fuck," you know. Like, literally, like it was all of us. Kind of, it was me, Katrina. His name's Lonnie, my mom. And then she just bolted and said, "Here, talk to Lonnie," and then walked away.
I gotta go.
So then there's that awkward, like we turn to each other, look at each other, like, "Hey, what's up?" You know, it's like that. But it was cool. He was, he carried his own for sure. He's into drag racing bikes, which I'm fucking love Harleys.
Okay.
I'm into that stuff. So he's a man's man. He does construction for a living. He's got a cool little house on the Delta out there, and real cool dude. Seems like a good guy, man.
Does he have kids?
He does. He has a 31-year-old and a 34-year-old, and then he has one more that's I think 37 or 38.
Cool.
Yeah. So, but I didn't get a chance to meet them. I don't know what kind of father he is, but for the most part, I thought he was cool. My mom.
How was his hair?
Huh?
How was his hair?
Oh yeah.
A little bit like yours.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he had a similar kind of dad look like you.
Nice.
Right.
Like salt and peppery?
No, kind of like I don't care. Really,
Disheveled
like
a
the
little bit, yeah. Like
handsome,
I
tall,
was just
good-looking
woke
guy,
up,
but I'm not going to really try or put any
it's awesome,
effort
though.
into
Yeah.
it.
Oh,
you know?
I like him.
Yeah, I know. You would
Sounds
Kind of blows with the wind.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I don't care.
Yeah, no, he looked good. He was sharp. He was sharp, good guy. I liked him, but that's all. My mom is like. So my mom married my real father when she was 15 or 16. Had me by 20. Then my real dad dies when I'm 7. She remarries again within a year. So she's never really had this single life. So the last 10 years of her life that she has been single, she divorced my stepfather. Now, I'm watching her go through this dating process.
It's like an awkward steps
It's-
going into it.
It's very weird
Did
for
they
me.
meet online or should you do the
They
whole
do.
online?
They did.
Wow.
It was it wasn't Christian Mingle. There's something called Zeus.
FarmersOnly.com.
Yeah, it was totally.
Yeah.
It was totally one of
Zeus?
those. Yeah, it was Zeus. I didn't even know. It's like a
Where
is
big
that?
guys can meet the ladies. Maybe it's just for big dudes.
that or like adult tender. I don't know. I don't know what. I don't know what. I'm not sure exactly what it was, but. I just heard a stat actually on this that I think it was 84 or 82% of relationships now start online.
Yep.
That is crazy.
Yeah,
That makes
high.
perfect sense.
Majority of marriages now people met online.
Well, I mean, here's what's neat, and this is why. I mean, I remember in our generation, right, coming up in this, you used to tease somebody about that, but in reality now, I mean, it's probably really cool how quick you can totally oh, not into that, not into that, not into that. Okay, she ain't gonna work. Sure, she's hot, but we don't like any of the same things. So you just
Right.
you wouldn't waste your time even really talking to that
Dude,
person.
there's
So
I think
you can hone in on
She has too many stuffed
so
animals.
someone was
Run for the hills.
Someone was telling me that because there's dating websites now for everything. Someone was telling me that there's a dating site for people with STDs.
Whoa.
Yeah, like if you have an STD, you could find people who have the same STD.
I want my crabs to match your crabs.
so you guys can.
This is awesome.
Isn't that?
Yeah.
isn't
Then
that-
it almost turns into like a competition, like how many you can get.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then you get to be part of that group. It's like, oh, I got 5.
Herpes.com.
We love STDs. Which one do you want
Which
today?
one do you have?
They do. I mean, they literally have a. You were joking about the farmers.com, but they've created like a subcategory for everything, and those things are so big.
They have a site. They actually have a website now where I think if you're a younger dude who likes to date older women, even. You imagine what would happen with that, Adam?
Wow.
Back in the day?
Hey.
That's right.
Yeah, look, you're-
Katrina's always worried about me leaving her for some like 60-year-old lady.
DateYourTeacher.com.
You have like a weird old lady fetish. I'm really worried about you. Like, well, it's my mom issues. No, look. I'm like that. I said I don't have an old lady thing. I was like when I was 20, I liked 30-year-olds. That's fucking totally different.
Yeah.
I don't now.
Now that you're old, they're a lot older.
At 35, I still like the 30-year-olds. You know what I'm saying? It stayed the same. You know what I'm saying? As I got older, I just liked older, mature
The
women.
good part is you get discounts on like food, right? You go to restaurants,
Or you get parking in the area, like the senior
That's
parking
cool.
and shit like that.
AARP, stamps, all that stuff.
It's like, baby, that sex was great. You want me to carry your walker out to the taco? Hey, Justin, how was your Easter?
It was cool. It's just basic family stuff.
Do you guys do the Easter egg hunt with your kids?
We did it on Sunday. We did it, and my brother brought his kids and stuff, so we just put them all over the place and watched them, videoed it, and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, it was like so typical. You know? Yeah.
Do you like candy?
No. That was the one thing that I was actually proud of, was like I influenced my mom to put like money in there and then like toys and stuff. So there was like very few like pieces of candy because, dude, like since they wake up, it's like this
fucking diabetes.
This crack,
Wow,
like sensation. They'll eat like one piece of candy and then the whole day is just
Dude,
like,
I had a lot of candy.
yeah. Oh yeah.
I did, dude. Actually, half of a chocolate bunny and a bunch of like gummy, what are they called? Peaches. Gummy peach circles.
Oh, I love
they
those.
look like buttholes,
I
but
love
anyway.
those.
That's
gummy
why you like them so much.
Probably, but they're
Tongue it in a circle
that's,
fashion.
that's funny. That's how I eat it too.
Knew it, you sick fuck.
Mix it with the chocolate bunny.
He's just like, ooh,
You
peach
got-
rim jobs for everybody.
It's
Bro,
fucking
you've
good.
been watching way too much porn.
You know what
No,
else I
seriously,
ate?
right?
You know what else I ate yesterday that was I haven't had in
Out of ordinary.
probably 30 years.
Whoa.
Pillsbury crescent rolls.
Oh yeah,
Oh, wow.
those are amazing.
What?
you-
but what is it? It's
When
not
I
even
was
real.
When I was a kid,
What
we
is
used,
that stuff?
we
That was
used
our
to,
dinner roll.
We used to
I was
make
like, this is
donuts
a
out of those.
Dinner roll?
We used to poke holes in the center of those, and you deep fry it in vegetable oil, and then make donuts.
well, no,
We
I'm
used to do this.
so I had them, and everybody
makes my
was
stomach hurt
and
thinking
everybody was referring to it as bread. Like, ooh, who wants bread? And I'm like, bread, and I'm like, that's not bread.
Yeah.
So I'm biting into it, and I'm analyzing like the flavor. I'm like, this is engineered. Like this is scientifically designed to taste really good, but you can also taste that it's not real. You know what I mean? Crescent roll. It's weird too. I forgot all about it. You pop the thing.
Ate the shit out of those as a kid. Biscuits and gravy. That was like a staple.
But you know what's on the
biscuit
box?
That wasn't.
So I looked at the box. And
Yeah,
on the box,
I've never read that because I haven't since I've learned about eating correctly as I've gotten older. That's just not something that even makes its way to my house.
So I want to ask you guys how you guys deal with this, because when I'm over someone else's house and they're like making food or getting things out of boxes, I tend to grab the box and look at the ingredients, but then I realize that I look like a dickhead when I'm doing that.
Oh,
I
bet.
don't do that.
So I don't do it anymore. So instead, I try to look at it like when they're not looking at it. I try to look at it to try and read.
You're an
I just
asshole.
know what. Yeah, like
just
what
know,
to
bro.
moderate.
Well, I
dude.
know it's not good, but I wanted to see the actual ingredients because I was interested.
Well, my problem is now that like, people know that my family, what I do for a living and everything. Like, so my aunt and uncle were there too.
No,
they came from Minnesota, and it's like all they want to do is just grill me on nutrition facts and this and that. I'm just like, oh my god, can I just eat?
No, this wasn't with my family. So
You can't-
So but I was looking at
You
the
can't
front of-
do that, bro. You can't. I'm gonna give you some. We can't do that. Like it's already. People are already weird about eating around.
Oh, I know, you can't.
Yeah. So you at all giving attention to what is?
Oh,
being,
I didn't.
So,
I ate
yeah,
it.
Yeah.
I ate it,
you
but
gotta just like
And I'm looking at the box though because it was just on the counter.
check it off as like not a good day.
And there's a
or a fasting day.
There's like a little red. There's like a little red label on it
bite.
or something, and it says no trans fats, no high fructose corn syrup. So I'm like, what are they using instead? Yeah, because
There's
they're
something
doing
in there.
They figured some other shit out.
Yeah,
some
yeah.
other
It's not
compound.
like butter that's in there. I'm pretty sure it's something out like soybean oil or some shit.
It's actually one of my biggest pet peeves that I have to talk about nutrition and exercise
Yes.
when I'm at.
Thank you.
Yes. I don't like it, and I
don't mind talking about it. I just don't like it when people do the whole like, oh well, sorry, we don't really have that much for you to eat. Like I'm like,
Does this meet your standards? Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
I try and
super condescending.
I try and avoid those conversations as much as possible, but it doesn't matter. I feel like no matter what, because people know what you and
look 'em up.
even if they eventually ask you like what you do for a living, and then you tell them, and they're like, and it's like instantly, everybody has this need to explain themselves.
Right.
Like, I don't fucking care. Like, eat what you want to eat. Like, I am the furthest from being judgmental on what you're gonna do. Like, I don't give a fuck. Like,
the worst for me is like, so you asked me a question that I thought you're interested in, but really you're just asking this to like try and make me look like a dick. At the same time, you're not even listening to my answer.
Yeah,
so
no.
fuck you for asking me.
No,
it's
not. It's one of my. It's a major pet peeve.
It irritates me,
and it does tend to happen. The more I'm in like situations where, and there was twice this Easter, right? So I went to another house. That went to my stepdad's house, and he must have had 30 plus people there, and most of them I've never met before. And so the topic of what you do. And I always normally tell people like, oh, I talk on this radio podcast thing, and I just kind of whatever. Katrina is always elbowing me, stop downplaying what you do. And I'm like, it's like it's because I don't want to talk.
I always do that too. Yeah.
Oh, I just
I just do stuff.
Yeah, I don't talk about it.
Yeah.
She pretty much supports me, actually. Let's just start telling people shit like that. I don't want to talk about it. I really don't. Which is unfortunate because I love what we do.
Well, I had to explain to a 70-something-year-old or maybe 80-year-old man what a podcast was. It was pretty interesting. Yeah.
You should have
so what do you
that.
do? Great guy, by the way.
Amazing.
By the way, great guy. He's from that generation.
In case he's listening, that's what it was.
He's comes from that generation that doesn't give a shit.
Yeah.
So he was super inappropriate with like half of his jokes.
That's great.
And I was
my
just
favorite.
Yeah, I was just fucking dying of laughter. But anyway, I'm trying to explain to him what a podcast was. So I said, it's a fitness podcast. And he's like, what's a podcast? I'm like, it's like a radio show. And he's like, how the fuck does that work? That's exactly what he said to me. He goes, how do you tell people to work out on a podcast? And so it took me like 10 minutes while I'm explaining it to him to realize that what he thought I meant was that you tune into the podcast and we tell you to work out. Yeah. All right,
like
5
it's
more
real
push-ups.
time.
Yeah. And you can see the look
Harder.
You can see the look on his face. He was
You're
like,
not even sweating
he
yet.
was like, what a shit idea. Like, what a terrible... like, the look on his face, he couldn't figure it out. He's like, what the fuck is wrong with people? Like, wouldn't it be better to be on TV? And I'm like, wait a minute.
they can't
I had to-
see you. This
I'm like,
is
no.
weird.
I'm like, it's like a talk show. And he's like, oh, okay. Do you do the Easter Bunny thing in the morning?
Oh, like we scatter like eggs and stuff, but I mean we sort of associate it with the Easter Bunny, but it's not like high production, like, oh, there's an Easter
high production.
There's an Easter bunny footprint over here, and I don't even know, like, who does that shit?
So the previous the episode we had like 2 episodes ago, we were like kind of like questioning like, why do we lie to our kids about these characters and shit?
Oh,
Yeah.
did you?
But they
doesn't
know
make any
I
sense.
did it,
And it doesn't make any sense,
Yeah.
right? So my kids were with my ex, so I wasn't there for the Easter Bunny thing, but I went there shortly afterwards so I can hang out with them and stuff. And my daughter, she's 7, so she believes in all this stuff. My son, he knows. And I'm like, so Easter Bunny bring you your present? She's like, yeah. She's so excited, and she's showing me, and we're playing and stuff. And I said, how does the Easter Bunny get in the house? Does he use the chimney like Santa Claus? And she goes, no. She goes, he comes in through the sliding glass door. I'm like, that's weird. I'm like, it was locked. She's like, yeah.
You're such a dick.
What are you doing?
She goes, yeah, he comes in. And I'm like, he doesn't set off the alarm or anything. She goes, no, he has magic. So I'm like, oh, so he uses magic to do all these things? She's like, yeah. And I'm like trying to plant the seeds, like, let's get you to question shit.
Magic.
You know what I mean?
Such a bad dad, bro. Look at you, dude. That's so awful.
I'm gonna start like planting the seeds of dissent. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Like, really? Do you
Yeah.
really think that's possible, honey?
Yeah.
You're
Well,
such a...
that's crazy that he has that magic, but he can't just
See, I
give you
tried
more
that.
toys. Why don't you just ask for more toys?
Yeah. I tried that, and then my son came up and he's like, hey, Dad, where'd you get these baskets? And I was like, oh, no, the Easter Bunny got them for you. Yeah. What are you talking about? Dad, it was like CVS, right? And I'm just like,
So it was funny.
Yes.
It's funny you guys are going this direction because while I was at my stepdad's house, these people that I was just meeting, so we're all talking. And this conversation came up because I shared on the podcast. We talked about Elf on the Shelf and when to tell your kids this. And one of the girls there goes, "Oh, my daughter just found out about the Easter Bunny today, and she's been crying all day long."
See?
Oh, no.
So she was just like, and the way
it's
she,
like,
the way she,
we're torturing these poor
the
kids.
way she found out was that her mom accidentally left a receipt or left a tag on the chocolate bunny or whatever to Walmart, Walmart or wherever she bought it
ruined
from.
everything.
So now
Receipt.
imagine that situation, right? Because her daughter's probably a little too young to kind of figure it out, so that's why she's crying, right? Because once they figure it out, there's not that big of a deal. But now imagine as a parent, like your child's like, oh, there's a label. What does it mean? Like, freeze frame. you have two options here: double down on my lie and make up some more shit, or tell, you know what I mean. So you could be like, oh, it looks like the Easter Bunny trying to trick you to thinking he's not in existence.
Looks like the Easter Bunny shops at Walmart too, like mommy and daddy. That's crazy. I'll keep my eye open next time.
Yeah. You know how I figured it out?
Easter Bunny's getting thrifty.
Every time, when I was a kid, I would ask for shit. My mom would be like, "That's too expensive for Santa Claus." And I'd be like, "Expensive?
Yeah.
He's got elves. He'll be able to make me what the fuck I want."
Yeah, they're doing slave labor.
I'm like, wait a minute.
I know.
It's not real.
Like a sweatshop.
Yeah.
Santa Claus is running a sweatshop.
Yeah. But anyway, I feel like shit today after that sugar. I can totally tell.
Oh, I imagine.
I can totally tell.
The day we did the drunk Q&A, I was just a fucking mess after that. Oh, God, dude. I just felt awful.
I went home and slept like a baby.
God, that was hilarious, though, huh?
Oh,
when we did the little...
That was a good time, though. It was Justin...
So we're going to do those, like...
Justin spit all over me, and when you watch the video, you can see, like, the chunks of it coming.
That was like a half laugh, and I was trying to say it at the same time. I don't know what happened, but, man, some, like, 3 huge chunks just flew.
Not the first time you spit on it.
That is going to have to be something we don't do often, because that's like too much recovery trying to get in it. I mean, I think Taylor was talking about possibly doing that like once a month, maybe, and we'll see. But that's too much. Yeah, it was.
You got to give the people what they want, though.
Right.
Let's do it with like whiskey. I can manage that better.
See, I don't like this. Justin's wheelhouse. If we do anything drunk, he's in charge.
Yeah,
he does.
I want to get you guys all weird.
What did you do for Easter? What did you end up doing?
We went to, so first we stopped at my family's house for a little bit, and then we went to Jessica's, got some family friends, so we went to their house and just hung out the whole time. And then afterwards we went home and watched a documentary.
What'd you guys watch?
You know what I watched? Shit, what's it called? Fuck.
What was it about?
The Mysteries of the Unseen, or Uncovering the Mysteries of the Unseen. It was like a 30-minute or 40-minute documentary on Netflix. Really fucking cool.
Yeah.
Like they're showing all the stuff that you can't consciously perceive, like X-rays and gamma rays, and like the very, very small and the very, very slow. Like we don't see like trees growing because they grow so slow, but they're doing all this time lapse photo and really cool stuff. Like I learned that when a water drop drops in a pool of water, it bounces off and creates smaller and smaller drops until it completely disappears. And it does this every single time.
Oh shit! Did they have like a super slow-mo camera?
Yeah.
So it doesn't actually penetrate the water.
No, because of the surface tension. Because of the surface tension, so it like bounces and then it bounces.
That makes sense.
Was that the first time you've seen a video like that done super slow-mo on something?
I've seen it, but I didn't know that like piece of it.
So what's cool is, and they got introduced probably 10 years ago, maybe 15 now. It's been a while, but I remember when that camera first came out. That had the super slow-mo, and then the baseball bat when they show a baseball.
Oh, and it gets smashed.
Oh, Isn't
that weird?
It's so wild to watch that connection and what actually happens.
It's like the ball actually bounces.
Oh
off.
yeah, and you see the bat like completely bend, like it's rubbery.
Yeah, everything bends. Yeah, it's to an extreme.
It's pretty wild to watch that, and I'm very, very fascinated. I didn't know that happens with a raindrop though.
Yeah. They had that, and
that alone makes me want to watch it. I want to see what that looks like.
Yeah, and then I saw
how many times does it bounce? Like hundreds of times, or just like one time?
I don't know how many times, but it just keeps doing it, and it just keeps turning into smaller and smaller, like drop. It's pretty weird.
Yeah,
it's pretty weird. That's it.
It's pretty fascinating.
I think we should bring the bird.
Bring your on.
Bring it, man.
Queen Claw. The eagle has landed. Chimera Claw.
Today's Quah is being brought to you by Chimera Coffee. It's the only coffee that is infused with all natural nootropics for a cleaner, calmer, and more focused buzz without the crash. Click the Chimera link at mindpumpmedia.com and input the discount code MINDPUMP at checkout for 10% off.
It's the motherfucking Quah.
The eagle has landed.
First is Adam J. Castro. How do antidepressants affect fitness?
I've actually had people ask me this question several times in the last few months on my own personal Instagram page. Antidepressants are an interesting class of drugs. What's most interesting about this is how many people are on them now. What
was the stat? It's like crazy. 1 in 3 or something like that?
There's a large percentage of people that are prescribed antidepressants.
Or maybe that was just pills. I don't remember. It was high, though. It was
very high. And what's really interesting the most commonly prescribed antidepressants are SSRI classes of drugs like Zoloft or Prozac. SSRI stands for Selective Serotonin Reuptake Inhibitor. And so what these drugs do is they reduce the amount of serotonin that's reuptaked in the brain, so it increases the amount of serotonin that's floating around the brain, so it gives you more, I guess, more available serotonin. And the effects take a while to really come up. So I guess you're supposed to be on them for anywhere between 4 to 12 weeks before you feel them working. Now, the studies on SSRIs are pretty interesting. They're just a little bit better than placebo for most cases. So it's kind of interesting to look at. And in fact, when you look at, I would venture to say, and I'm not a doctor, so I want to preface this by saying that so nobody sues me for trying to take this advice. But if you look at studies that compare exercise and nutrition to antidepressants, exercise and nutrition outperform them, and in the long term, they continue to outperform them better and better and better. Of course, exercise and nutrition are not as easy as taking a pill, and I think that's why people tend to want to take an antidepressant. And for some people, apparently, they do help quite a bit. But here's my opinion on how they affect fitness, because they've actually done studies on antidepressants, and they're hard to really look at because the kind of people who take antidepressants are probably depressed, and if it helps you from a depressed state to a non-depressed state,
yeah, you can't beat that argument. That's the argument they've had for years.
Yeah,
dude.
do you think you're going to have improved fitness? Probably, right? If you're really down and depressed, and an antidepressant improves your mood, you're probably going to have better fitness. But on the flip side of that, one of the number one side effects of antidepressants is weight gain, and there's some theories behind that. One of the theories is that people may actually be eating more, or at least craving foods that tend to taste better, because now that someone, once someone's depressed and once they come out of it, they start to enjoy things again, and so maybe they're eating more as a result of it. But there's also some theories that it actually does something to the metabolic system, and it actually causes weight gain that way. And there's actually some pretty compelling evidence.
Well, do you know what is actually happening with like dopamine and serotonin? What's going on with that? Do you know what exactly happens when you take in one of those?
It just increases serotonin, is what it's supposed to do. Now, does that influence the other aspects of the brain? I would believe so. I don't know.
Yeah,
but I would absolutely believe so. And there's and you look at some of the side effects of antidepressants. For example, erectile dysfunction is a big one. That tends to be a problem with some men who take antidepressants, probably because I think serotonin can cause issues, sexual issues, can reduce like the ability to achieve orgasm is one of them. Also, weight gain, like I said before.
That's ironic. The chemical that makes you feel good in your brain also hinders you fucking getting a boner.
Doesn't it just make you feel more?
Why does that seem backwards? This
right?
shit sounds backwards to me.
Well, I mean, if you look at like illegal drugs, like
aloof.
Look at illegal drugs like MDMA, for example. MDMA is not an SSRI, but it does cause your brain to produce a shit ton of serotonin, and you feel amazing. But one of the side effects of MDMA, which is
awesome dancer,
is that you can't. A lot of guys say they can't have sex or they can't orgasm on it. And so I think lots of serotonin, more serotonin tends to cause that. And I know dopamine's involved in that process, and I think you may be right, Adam. There may be something going on with dopamine there. But there are other antidepressant drugs, the SNRI drugs, which are the selective norepinephrine reuptake inhibitors. Now, those may increase or improve athletic performance, because norepinephrine is it's one of those chemicals that's kind of that energy chemical. And so if it increases the amount of norepinephrine in your system, you might actually have more of that wired energy. But I've done research on this, and the studies, they don't point to any athletic benefit whatsoever. But I think, again, if you're depressed and you become not depressed, you're probably going to have better performance.
The awesome thing would be to get that person and not let them know that you're going to give them sugar pills, keep them working out, eating right? So they're taking the pills thinking that they're getting it. So the placebo effect is about like 80% as successful, some crazy high number. I remember reading that. It's
and
the difference between the placebo, the sugar pills, and the actual
power of belief.
Yeah, it is like
strong.
especially with something like that, right? With something that is a mental disorder, right? That's going on. So I think that
consider this. Like let's look a little deeper. So SSRIs attempt to give the brain more serotonin because they think that depression may be you have issues with producing serotonin, or you have issues with using serotonin. So more serotonin is supposed to help you. Okay, that's the theory behind SSRIs. Most of the serotonin that's produced in your body is produced in your gut. And there is a very strong connection with depression and gut issues. In fact, people who are depressed tend to have stomach problems.
Well, this is what we kind of talked with Rob Wolf a little bit. I remember you brought that up as a question to him, and he's like, no, absolutely, it's connected for sure.
Yeah, so I would say I've had clients in the past who have come and see me and hired me and have had issues with depression, and the way that I've seen them use antidepressants is they'll take the antidepressants to give them the energy to do something, because sometimes you're so down that and again, this is clinical depression, and again, I'm not a doctor, but if you're sometimes these people are so down that they just can't get up off the couch, they can't do anything.
Yeah.
And so sometimes these drugs help them just get up and start doing something, and then once they start moving and doing all the things that they know are going to make them feel better physically, then they start to reduce their antidepressant use. But again, you want to do that under the supervision of a doctor, because I do know that going off antidepressants cold turkey can have some pretty scary side effects as well. But consider your gut health as a big factor in the physical causes of depression or anxiety. Work on gut health, and then exercise and fitness make a huge impact as well. So I know we're going a little off topic, but those all those things
it's connected.
can have a pretty great impact on mild to moderate depression.
I think at the end of the day, your goal though would be to try and get your client or whoever it is to wean them off of that, right? You wouldn't want you. I mean,
I don't think anybody who's taking a prescription wants to take it all. I think ideally for anybody, right? You don't want to just stop taking it and then feel incredible.
Right.
So,
Austin 4100. What are Sal, Adam, and Justin's specific fitness goals?
like our personal
currently.
personal
current goals.
is that what it is? Is current?
Yeah, like what's your current personal fitness goal? I don't know. Why don't you go first, Adam?
I always go first. Actually, I always go first on questions like this, and then all the other ones you tend to hop in and jump in.
Maybe.
First. Did you ever notice that? We do. You have
Do we do that?
You do have kind of a pattern.
Interesting.
It works.
Because you like me to tell a story first, so you can put yours together. That's why I've already put that together. What am I currently working on right now? My imbalances. For me, that's been a major one. It's been a major focus for the last almost year now.
What are your imbalances? Are they the same?
Yeah, I have, and that's okay. That's great. Great question. Great point. And this will lead into probably a better topic here. So I think a lot of times when you get your first level of awareness of, oh shit, I've got this, ankle pronating, or I've got this, my hip abducting, or I've got something going on right with my body that's causing either pain or, discomfort somehow, and you start to address it. I think there's a major misconception on how that works. It's probably more than likely for most people going to be something that you will forever be addressing going forward, because most of us are 30 plus years old. And if you had these imbalances for a long time, that's a long time that you've had these bad patterns. And to think that you're just going to, go see this chiropractor or go do a couple movements or go follow Prime for 2 months and say, I'm fixed. No, it's a constant battle of trying to get these better movement patterns. And for me, I've got this major issue where when I sit down in the baby position, I've got my left foot that tends to want to pronate. And then I've also got, poor thoracic mobility in that deep of a squat. Now I say poor and that because it's been really poor. I've come a long way where I'm at now, but that's a lot of what I'm doing right now. I have my prime. I'm spending probably more time in MAPS Prime and fortification sessions than anything else. I'm still lifting, and I just recently kind of transitioned into a little bit back into my MAPS Black and going that direction, but I still wouldn't even consider myself following MAPS Black. I'm more MAPS Prime and fortification with sprinkles of my MAPS Black in there every now and then. So, because I know summer's around the corner, and I am aesthetic driven. I know I'm going to be at pools. I'm going to be on the boat. We'll be in Vegas, things like that. So, I do want to get back towards my aesthetics a little bit, but I don't feel like I'm that far off because I've still been training. I've just been focused more on my mobility, and the big thing for me is just tightening up my diet. I've kind of I haven't tracked in a very, very long time because I haven't been focused on weight gain or loss or building muscle. It's been how I move. So my main focus is how I'm moving, and for me, I have to I haven't weighed myself in literally months. So in order for this to work, I have to completely I don't do good with like dabbling back and forth on goals, if that makes sense. Because what happens, especially when I'm focusing on a goal that is opposite of what like my insecurities are. So if I have a really hard time with my whole life with being the skinny guy, wanting to build muscle, and then I decide I'm going to focus on a goal that is really not attached to that whatsoever, which would be moving better, right? That performance, that's all that matters. And if I'm going to be true to that, then I really have to like not care about the other one.
Is it because you feel like then the insecurity starts to peak out?
Yes.
And it drives you to, oh no, I got to go lift heavy. I got to go eat more.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because if I start like doing the, mirror selfies, weighing myself, checking all that.
Fucks with you.
Yeah. Then I'm like, fuck this mobility. I want to get back to shape. I want to look a certain way.
Do you think there'll ever be a point where that won't happen, where you're going to be okay with that, and you're like, okay, I don't have to fear that it's going to drive me?
I think I'm really close to that. I think I'm really close to that. And there's parts of me that goes back and forth and we kind of talked about this before with like, we got into the whole like dressing, right? How you dress and how that you go through these changes in your life of like caring about it and not caring about it. I don't want to get to a point too where I don't give a fuck either, because I think sometimes you can also identify with that, with being so comfortable with, I don't care how I look,
sure,
that you like it. Then real easily you make a lot of bad choices because of that.
Well, that may be where you're at now, because you're not looking at all.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah,
like you're just not looking at all versus I guess ultimately that would be the place to be, right? Is where you can do all that and not worry about it influencing your decisions in terms of. That's a tough place to.
It is, and I think I'm. For me, I
struggle with that still.
A lot of, I think I think everybody does, and I think to say you don't, you're a fucking liar. I think that's.
I think there might be some people who do. I could see us, bro. I could see you and I being there, when we're 50, 60. I can't see us being so. Or who knows? I might go the opposite direction, right?
Yeah, exactly. I think the older the older I get, the more proud I am that I've taken care of my physique, and I'm more motivated too as I get older. Like that's one of the things that actually motivates me, especially when I run into like old friends that I haven't seen in a long time. That man, they're some of my buddies, like fuck, they look worn down, dude. They look old. You know what I'm saying? And they've already like kind of checked it off on like they're not doing much physical activities anymore, and it's like poker tables, fishing, and like things that don't require a lot of movement. And I'm not ready to fucking check it in, and so that motivates me to stay focused on that. So I don't know. When we talked we just had a great podcast with Brett McCabe, right, about mindset. And I don't think I ever want to get too comfortable. I think I like to be uncomfortable and challenging that. I think just being aware of it is the key, right? Like not being a majar driver.
I go back and forth with that, because when you say too comfortable, I think I thought that for a second too, but then I asked myself, I said, well, what am I perceiving as too comfortable? Too comfortable, I think maybe you're perceiving it as not caring, which I don't think that's the same thing. I think comfort is just being comfortable in your own skin and taking care of yourself from that standpoint.
So that's comfortable. So that's comfortable. That's comfortable. Too comfortable.
Is the not caring.
Is going to the extreme, and I think there's a fine line between the two of them, and I think a lot of people use that to justify where they're at.
I think a lot of people say they're comfortable,
exactly,
and they're not.
Exactly.
It's like the whole I know
that's too comfortable.
I have a friend that's like really obese and. Wonderful woman, love her to death, but she's constantly like, I'm so like, all she does is post about how beautiful she is and how much I love my, but it's not, it's you can tell it's her projecting.
She's closing herself
as much as
she's trying to close herself.
Yeah.
To me, I can see right through that when someone is like that. So that's the definition of too comfortable to me. So there's comfortable, yes. Too comfortable is when you start to use it to shield your insecurities. It's like, so I want to.
I don't know how comfortable it is, though, to be honest with you. She's probably not. You know what I mean? She's probably, from our standpoint, looks that way, but I'm sure she's hurting.
Inside, right? The too comfortable, I think, is referring to the where the person is at, not necessarily the feeling that they have, right? Yeah. So I think that people can get themselves in this too comfortable, like my buddies say, like, and they joke lightly about it. It's like, bro, I'm getting older. Let it happen. It's natural. It's normal. They really try and say it and roll off like that. I'm like, well, no. Like to me, movement. I think someone like Jack LaLanne had it's so crazy how far ahead of his time he was. You know, a lot of people don't know this, but the way he started every single fucking morning of his life, do you know that he went and like articulated every
finger, every digit?
Yes.
You know, he just like would make sure
everything from his mouth, his jaw, his neck, his toe, each one of his toes, each one of his fingers, and he just stayed
he's so far ahead of
Oh my,
it's
right?
crazy,
And that explains so much of what the physical feats he was doing at like 80 years old, because he stayed connected his entire life to his own body. And so many people are so quick to fucking disconnect.
He's also someone that I think was just a great example of actually being that, you know, in that health and longevity kind of mindset. You know, he did do those physical, you know, feats of performance, but he wasn't. It didn't seem like he was driven by you know.
It was an event by event. It was a whole lifestyle. Like every day, he would, you know, sort of teach people like, this is what I do consistently because I'm benefiting my body that way.
You know, there was a lady that worked out at one of the gyms that I used to manage, and she was, I'm trying to remember now, it was a long time ago. She was probably in her mid-40s, and she was this very kind of earthy, beautiful, just, she looked very healthy woman. And she would come in and she would lift weights sometimes, and sometimes she would do cardio, and sometimes she would do yoga, sometimes she would swim. But she was so comfortable in her own skin that she stuck in my mind because she was so comfortable with it. Like, she was just this beautiful woman. She had gray hair, so she didn't dye her hair. So she was just totally comfortable with, you know, how she was and who she was. And everybody in the gym would comment on her, like, man, you know, God, she looks so good. And I'll never forget her because she just exemplified that level of, like, you know, just being who you are, but you know, taking care of herself because she loves herself type of thing. And it looks amazing, and it feels amazing to be around. And that was, once I saw that, I admired it. I didn't realize that would be my goal, but it is now. Now my ultimate goal is to be in that state.
Yeah, that type of person has really been able to establish what their own personal, like, routines, what their own way of benefiting their own body, instead of like doing something so other people give you compliments, or other people are looking at you with judgment, or you're not judging yourself enough. You know, as far as like, you know, what could I be doing to improve? And some people really do. They hone in on that. Like, this is what makes me operate better. This is how it benefits my body. And like, it's so obvious when you meet somebody like that.
So this morning I was working out over at Club Sport, and, you know, they have the pool over there, and I'm going there in the morning. I go pretty early. So I'm there by like 6 a.m. or whatever, 6:30. And there was this, there in the pool area, there's always older generation people in there working out. And there's a large percentage of these are older Asian women, and they're doing their movements and exercises in the pool. And I was talking with you know, Jessica about this, how in Eastern culture, movement is such a part of their culture. It's been a part of their culture for a long time.
Oh yeah.
You know, if you go to China, they'll have parks, and you'll see, you know, people in their 70s, 80s, 90s,
Tai Chi,
and they're doing Tai Chi and exercise, and it's a part of their culture. It's very different than the way it's a part of our culture. In our culture, fitness is not part of wellness. It's either performance or it's looking good.
Well, we've gone to the opposite extreme where we glorify the work martyrs, right? So the people that overwork to be successful, that's the new standard of person, you know, that we glorify. We glorify that whole process of you know, being a startup, but
these, you know, to watch these
destroying your body.
Watch these women doing, because I was watching them for about 5 minutes, and I was just so amazed because they were socializing with each other, they were moving and exercising, and it was just mostly movement in the pool. And it was just great to see. And it's a part of that Eastern culture and philosophy, which is, when you look at Eastern medicine reflects it. When you go to an Eastern medicine doctor with, you tell them you have headaches, or you have, you know, acid reflux, or, you know, constipation, whatever, some chronic, you know, disorder, they're going to talk to you about your eating. They're going to talk to you about movement. They're going to talk to you about meditation. They're going to talk to you about your mood, all these different things. And it's been a part of their culture for so long, which is probably why they outlive us. I mean, I think if I'm not mistaken, the longest living like modern society right now in the world is, I believe, South Korea. I believe the South Korean women there have like a average lifespan that's getting close to 90 now, which destroys America's lifespan. And I really think it's just
that'd
their
be
culture.
an interesting stat to see, actually, is to see what's the average
lifespan.
Yeah, lifespan.
Longest living people. Whatever.
In all the
Maybe
different
we'll look
countries.
at-
Yeah, I'm curious to see what the
But,
difference in that is.
You know, for me personally, for my current fitness goal, very specific now. This is just happening right now, and I'm going to do this for about 14 days. Is I reminded myself of this over the weekend. One of the reasons why I love coaching people. I have very few clients that I work with, and mainly it's just keep my finger on the pulse of what we do. But the reason why I love to do it is because it reminds me that exercise and nutrition isn't just about, getting fit.
Wow, Monaco.
lean.
Where's Monaco?
Monaco?
Yeah.
That's in the Mediterranean.
Holy shit. Monaco, average 89.5, so 90 years old, average. Japan, 84. Singapore, 85.
Yeah, there you go.
San Marino,
That's again in that whole
83.
Mediterranean.
Iceland, 82. Hong Kong, 82. Switzerland, 82. So, Jesus, you're not going to find. Oh, Canada beats us.
They
81 for Canada. France, 81. Norway.
You know what makes
Spain,
me what makes me
Australia.
angry about this?
Where are
Is
we?
that
Wow.
they'll say that they'll attribute that to healthcare.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not fucking healthcare.
not
It's
that.
their lifestyle.
Yeah.
United
100%.
States, 79.
Yeah, we have a horrible lifespan.
We're number 43.
Yeah, we're one of the worst. So for me, I reminded myself that nutrition and exercise are also about having fun, and it's okay to have fun with them. And so right now what I'm doing, and I do this every once in a while, is I dramatically increase my dietary cholesterol intake for about 14 days. And every time I do this, I notice a boost in strength and signs and symptoms of more testosterone. And of course, cholesterol is the building block for all these hormones. So right now I'm consuming lots of chicken livers and egg yolks, and I'm having a lot of fun with that.
Wow, Afghanistan.
So just having fun with that. What about you, Justin?
50, bro, in Afghanistan.
Well, yeah.
That's the worst.
Well,
Adam
they've been
loves
in war.
stats.
They've been in war
I do.
forever.
That's just something that's fascinating to me. That
Yeah.
For me, I think I kind of pick and choose what area or what adaptation I've been avoiding, and then I weave that back into my system. So for me, it's been conditioning, and that's been a focus of mine.
Like stamina?
Yeah, like stamina, durability. Just being able to move and accelerate, and also be a little bit more powerful. And those are traits I want to maintain. Like I don't want to just be strong or just I don't know. I tend to feel like my movement suffers quite a bit if I don't like maintain a certain level of power. And so I'll incorporate that and do it in a way where the movement is a high priority for me. And I've been incorporating a lot more like kind of sled sprints and jump rope and like mace bell swings, and so I tend to lean a little bit more on the unconventional stuff too. So
You have more fun doing that.
Yeah, I have a lot more fun, dude. I like to get outdoors. I've been running a lot more hills lately around my house. I always love to do that because it gets me out in nature, and then it's just I get the endorphin rush too after I'm done, and so I feel really good. So. But then it's just at a certain point, then my body starts to kind of feel the pressure of that. So I need to weave back into strength or mobility and focus a little bit more on that.
I think it would be kind of neat to actually set some sort of a goal like that we all decide on, and then actually kind of follow, and maybe we can kind of Insta story it or talk about it. We haven't done something like that. I mean, remember we did my show first, right, where you followed my journey to get ready for the San Jose Pro. Mm-hmm. Then we did Justin's transfer. Did we do Justin's transformation first? Which one was first? I was first.
Justin was first.
Justin was first.
Oh, Justin was first. So we did Justin's
first.
We did Justin's transformation first, which was really cool, and that was like when we first started. So
That was way back.
I'm wondering how many people even remember that.
yeah, I doubt, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, we have so many new people now that I've had inbox me like, oh, you competed? Like, oh, wow. Like, so you just now came
a
on
lot
board.
of those things.
That's the way it was like 100 something when we followed my San Jose Pro show.
Uh-huh.
So maybe we come up with something. I think that'd be kind of fun to do something, put it out there.
Well, I don't know about you guys, but I'm just putting it out there. I'd like to get some rings in here, and I'd love to do just a whole series of body weight.
Yeah.
Just all we do is body weight.
Somebody asked about
going
that.
down there. That made me miss it big time.
Yep.
Yeah, YouTube. There, we just had somebody who asked that, so that would be a cool thing to do. Man, talking about cardio, fucking A, bro. I climbed Mission Peak this weekend.
That's
right.
Motherfucker, bro.
Did they kill you?
I did it. Well, I didn't. So lately, first of all, let me preface this with I hate to hike. In fact,
You don't like hiking?
I don't.
Wow.
I don't like
I love
hiking.
hiking.
I love
I'm not a
hiking.
nature guy. I'm sorry. You know what I'm saying? That's what makes us all different. It's fucking neat that you guys love to be out there all the time. Like, what's funny? I grew up in the nature. I grew up in the fucking
Why don't
hills.
you like hiking?
I grew up in a place that you had to go 45 minutes to
You're
the
like,
grocery
I'm over
store.
it now.
Yeah, I'm over,
Yeah.
bro. I've had the bears. I've
I want
had
all
the
the
wolves. I've had the
amenities.
deer in my fucking yard. I've done all that shit. Been to Yosemite 100 times. Camped like everywhere. Like,
It wasn't nice just to be up there with your girl.
I do love some of the stuff, but here's why the hiking. We're going on a whole other tangent talking about
That's all
camping. But the hike was way intense. Like I like to like.
Why is it so intense? I've never done Mission Peak. Is it
It's
just
like
steep?
steep grade the whole way. And normally when you do climbs like that, it's like a steep grade, then they kind of level out
It's
for a
just
while.
steep.
The whole time. And I heard that so that was my first time out there. So I heard that the roads on up there are really bad because of the winter we just had. So like it's all ruts and rocks and like pebbles. So you actually have to look where you're stepping because every step I'm stepping on a rock this way, then that way, and then a crevice. And so, I'm paying attention to my footing the whole way up. So and there's a beautiful view. I mean, it's a gorgeous view of Fremont, San Jose. You're on top of the mountain. It's beautiful. Problem is you're so focused on where you're stepping that you can't like walk down or like I would enjoy walking and talking with my girl, but I was catching my breath the whole time.
Is that the one that's got the what is it, like a pole or
yes,
whatever?
that everybody takes pictures on?
Wasn't our sticker on the top of it?
I didn't even look.
Someone put our sticker on
Dude,
there.
it
I've
was
seen a few fans go up there. Yeah.
Oh, and it's there's a line to take the picture on there. And I look at Katrina, I'm like, fuck that. We're not waiting a half hour just to take a picture on this thing. Like, if people don't believe I was up here, I don't give a shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you don't believe I came up here, originally,
Just like selfie stick mania. Just
I wondered why people were so excited they climbed a hill until I was like, okay, that's something to be proud of because that shit fucking kicked my ass. Like that, the average person going up that, I was watching like some really deconditioned people. I was like, man, good for you. I can feel this. You know what I'm saying? And now, mind you, I'm not cardio guy, so of course I'm supposed to be out of breath a little bit, but I saw some really deconditioned people that were trucking their way up the hill. It was very motivating to see that many people out there. I mean, hundreds of people hiking at the same time at the same hill. So it was my first time going up there. I absolutely hated it. Wouldn't recommend it to anybody. No, it was cool. I mean, it's cool if you really like to hike, but I would have rather gone somewhere that was a little more level where I could talk to my girl. We could look at the
You
scenery.
like to walk.
Yeah, I like to walk.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a
There you
walker.
go. Yeah.
I'm a walker.
Our next question is from the slimy unicorn.
Ooh, where's she been?
Ew.
I don't, what? Is she? Is it a she? Do we know that?
Slimy unicorn.
Tell us.
All right, so the slimy unicorn is asking, what do you do
Magical
when you
goo.
slip off of your pre-competition diet? This person tends to go to extremes after slipping.
So I got a little analogy for you. Well, first off, what the slimy unicorn is talking about is when they are in pre-comp mode, so they got this real strict diet. Then they go off of it because they fuck up, they binge or whatever, have a cheat meal, and then the next day they'll do like tons of cardio or they won't eat all day to try and make up for it. So the analogy that I like to use with this is like when you're driving on a wet road and your car starts to slip into one direction, if you overcorrect with your steering wheel, you're going to spin and crash. And that's the equivalent of what's happening when you
Highway 17.
when you slip off your diet and then the next day you try to make up for it. You're actually probably doing yourself more harm than good. What I would recommend is just get back on your diet and just get back on your pre-comp and don't go crazy with trying to make up for the whatever you just did, because the likelihood is you're going to overdo whatever you're trying to do, whether it be, today I'm doing 2.5 hours of cardio because yesterday I had a slice of pizza, or I'm going to just not eat all day. You could definitely use fasting as a tool, but when you're using it to like make up for something else, bad habits start to come out of that. So I would say just try to get back on your diet. Now, if you're super close to your contest, I'll let Adam answer that because
Well, I think that's
I got nothing.
I think that. Well, Justin, please
Skip.
No, I think that's incredible advice, Sal. And the only thing I would really add to that is a little more specific on things that I learned, like as I went through this. If you actually are competing, right? I was blown away on how much knowing what I know, and I still struggled with this because you've resisted for so long for this, and this I believe this applies for other things than just contest prep for bodybuilding. I think this is very similar to people that are prepping for anything where they have to be on a strict diet for a certain amount of time. And what we tend to do is once we made it, we do this like celebration of like, yeah, I fucking made it, and they binge. And once they start that, it's a dangerous, slippery slope. And so what I had to do, and because I caught myself doing the same thing, like, oh, I'm gonna eat like crazy post show, and the hard part with post show stuff is you look fucking awesome as you're eating bad food. Like the more bad food I ate for like the first 24 hours, the cooler I looked. Like I was so depleted that almost all those calories were going to like just filling my muscle bellies up. So I'm just getting like you're growing, and I still got abs because you were so depleted. You're 2% body fat. It's not like you're gonna go from 2 to 10% overnight, but you definitely go from 2 to like 6% real quick. And so what I had to start to do was to treat. After my show, I would have to mentally tell myself that my dieting, my programming, all that stuff like that actually doesn't stop for until another week to 2 weeks later. And I would diet out of that. So, and that's what reverse diet, this huge popularity in reverse dieting is all about, is, slowly reintroducing. Now that doesn't mean you can't go have a nice burger after your show at that. Enjoy it. I mean, have a great big meal. One big, huge meal post all that is not going to kill you, but do not be fooled that it's not going to spike leptin, fill you all, and just create like this. Your appetite is going to be roaring. And so if you have this, fuck it, I'm over, I'm not competing, I'm not focused anymore, and you lose focus real easily, that can get out of control. So I would actually start to plan out, day one at post show, day 2, day 3, day 4, what it would look like. And I would allow myself calories and extra stuff and things that I hadn't been able to do on my contest prep, but I'd be more strategic about how I reintroduce it versus a free-for-all, which is what happens to most people when they fall off. So I think treating it with a little more structure, I think that is something that don't just,
because they're asking about pre-competition dieting too. So like you're getting ready for a show.
Yeah, if you're well, this is why I don't like cheat meals.
Yeah.
This is why I think it's stupid when coaches do this, like, oh, you're gonna have a cheat day on this day. It's like, no, it's not. You shouldn't even teach your client that. It should be like, hey, we need a surplus of calories, and this is what we're going to do. But it's this culture that's been created in the competitive world that drives me crazy. This, hey, cheat day or cheat meal. Like, no, you idiot. Like, if your coach is telling you that, what's the science behind why he's telling that? Well, that's because he's trying to fill you back up with more carbohydrates and calories. But in your head, you're connecting that with, oh, I've been good, oh, I can cheat. And so you do this back and forth game, which is just a bad relationship with food. Really, if you need a surplus of calories, you should still target getting it from healthy foods. And if it does end up meaning a burger or whatever.
And really, I think one of the best things you could do when you're going into pre-competition prep, or if you compete on stage, and present your body, realize that all the things that you do to get on stage really push you towards bad relationships with exercise and food. Now, that doesn't mean you're going to get those. Just understand that you're entering into an environment that really promotes that.
It's an extreme.
And be aware of it, because then you can see what's happening to your mind and your body as you're going through this process. I trained a pageant competitor a long time ago. So pageant world isn't that different from the competition world. Might even be worse in terms of like diet pills and starving yourself and stuff like that. And I could clearly see the what it did to her mind as she would enter these contests, and what would happen with how she would eat, with her food and with her exercise, and how she would treat them. And my goal was always to make her aware of it. Like, look, you are going to be presenting yourself on a stage. People are going to be, dissecting you both physically and verbally and all these other things. And that does in some people promote, bad behavior or unhealthy behavior, I should say. and just be aware of what's going on, because then you can catch it before it gets out of hand. Because already the question alone tells me that this particular individual is already in that bad state. Well, they slip off, and then the next day they try and make up for it by doing this horrible stuff.
Well, I'm going to tell you something that's going to sting a little bit. You don't belong competing. Sorry. It's a sport, just like anything else is. There's levels to that. Like, it's just like I don't belong getting on a rugby field. You know why? Because I don't fucking know how to play the game. I haven't trained for it. I'm not mentally, I'm not physically ready for it. What the fuck would I be doing on a rugby? Just bottom line. Yeah. Now, maybe there's part of me that wants to go play rugby. So what would I do before that? I would do all the things to get ready just to even play the fucking sport. I wouldn't just hop on a field and compete with professionals or with people that are taking this on that.
So you're saying people with like really bad issues with food. It's probably not a good idea to compete.
Yes, if you have not honed in on your connection to food, if you cannot diet for 6 to 8 weeks, very, very strategically strict and dialed in on your own with no competition, you haven't proven to yourself. Why would you even hop on a stage and compete against people for a trophy? And it's a sport.
It's a great point, because look at the sport in general. It is it's the glorification of like all your insecurities.
Oh my God, dude.
You're putting all your insecurities on display to get feedback from everybody else, which is exactly the wrong message. So if you don't recognize that it's a sport and it's a temporary thing that you're just going in to be like, oh, cool, I did that, versus like I get my identity from this, it's just going to lead back into your life.
Now, on the flip side, it could also be a tool to help with those insecurities. Like, let's say you're somebody
to address them, to
get in a certain shape.
I disagree.
It could be.
Here's why I disagree.
It could be a learning experience.
Here's why I disagree.
It's a tough argument.
That's like throwing me out on the rugby saying, hey, you're probably going to learn a lot while you go out here and play.
You're going to break a leg.
If you put me at a rugby game, I'm going to learn some shit. I'm not going to not learn anything. So just like you put somebody in that sport, they're going to learn something. But why would you do that? Yeah. There is no reason for you to learn that way. So Noah, I want to talk about this. I'm glad we went this direction, because this needs to be addressed, because this is getting worse, and the sport is becoming so popular. We just went and saw our boy Arya compete at a show that, when I was competing just 2.5 years ago, was like dead. Like hardly anybody went to it. We went to the prejudging of it, and it was twice the size of the night show that was 2 years. So the sport is exploding. Everybody wants to be a men's physique athlete or a women's bikini athlete right now. It's like the fucking cool thing to do. And what the problem I see with it is too many people are trying to do it that don't belong doing it yet.
Or they've never learned how to do things a healthy way first. Yeah. So if you're going to go like to this extreme and you're not recognizing that it's a sport without the knowledge to then like transition back to a healthy lifestyle and a healthy identity for yourself, you're going to set yourself up for fucking horrible habits later on in life.
I trained to compete for almost a year and a half before I decided to diet for a show. And that entire time, I was training my body and dieting. But during that entire time, I was learning as much as I could about a sport I was about to get in. And I'll never forget my buddies that were all these big-time coaches, right, for big teams. I'm not going to say roll anybody on the bus, but I've got multiple buddies that run these big teams for men's physique, bikini, and bodybuilders. And they were like, why don't get on the show now? Get on there, and the judges need to see you, and the more they see you, the better chances you have to work up the ladder. And I'm like, I'm not ready for the sport. I'm still learning like how I get ready dieting wise, how I do this, what I need to, how long I need to. I'm trying to figure out. Okay, when I do this, this, and this, my body takes this long to respond. Like I'm paying attention to all that stuff, and I was practicing all those things before I even went in at my first amateur show. And so when I hear people that are like struggling with this, like falling off the wagon in their preseason, or they're not even sure if 12 weeks is enough time for them to, like, you need to know all that stuff. You should know what it takes you to get down to 3% body fat from wherever you are currently right now, and you should practice that before you ever decide to step in an arena.
Well, let me ask you guys this: do you think that these sports where you're presenting yourself, these aesthetic based sports, do you think they've done more damage?
Absolutely. This is why I'm passionate. And that's, don't get me wrong here. I'm not
I know how we'd answer, but I wanted to ask you guys.
But this is why I think it's so important that people understand that I'm not like Man, I know I'm probably offending a bunch of people that are like looking to sign up for their first show right now, and now I totally poo-pooed on their whole fucking deal, right? But here's the deal: like, it is a very unhealthy sport, one of the most unhealthy sports. But I love it, and I think you can do it. It's like CrossFit to me.
It's like very much like CrossFit.
It's like I love CrossFit too, and I love to watch it. I think it's an awesome sport, and I think it's so cool to see some of these athletes perform at the highest level. I'm envious. I think it's rad. But
here's my two like issues with both CrossFit and these types of sports that like put you on display as far as like your physique is concerned. You're competing in lifestyle day-to-day like necessities, right? So I need to eat every day. Like I need to be doing some form of exercise, every day to be healthy. The point I'm trying to make with CrossFit, I guess, is that there used to be a process to train for a sport, right? And there was a purity there as far as like, okay, I'm going to build myself up, and there's a whole process, and then now there's this endurance part, and this is all leading up towards now I'm going to get in season, and now I'm competing at a very high level in season, right? So what happened was it becomes convoluted. It becomes this muddied up process where now we're competing in what was supposed to be the preparation for the sport. Which is exactly how I see on like eating stuff as being the preparation for me competing. Like this is like these are habitual things that are healthy processes that now we turn them into a sport for what?
Yeah,
I don't know. I just have a big issue with it.
Yeah, for me, I think there's definitely some good things it's brought to fitness.
Oh, it changed my life. It's changed my life. It's made me a better coach. It's made me. I love it. So don't get me wrong.
But definitely, if you have issues with food and issues with body image, it'll probably push you in the wrong direction. It's not necessarily the greatest thing. Every show I've ever been to, I just hear the conversations people have, and I can see the way people look, and it's just, oh my God, this is really bad. This can be
I don't
really
think
bad.
it's that hard. Okay, so and it's very simple, right? Like I feel like if anybody before they decide to compete, where you're going to get up, be compared by judges, stand next to other men and women, and be compared, before you put yourself in that environment, you should at least just get yourself in the best shape of your life and see what that looks like and what it took to get there and what you learned along the way. That right there will at least give you a step up from 90% of these people that I see entering their first shows that just decide they're going to hire a coach and say, hey, because that's what's happening right now. It's becoming so popular that someone goes like, I want to do that, and I believe I got the discipline to do that. Who's your coach? Who helped you out? Then they go hire that motherfucker who has no business helping these people.
Here's what you got to consider. You got to consider the damage that you're going to do to your body, because you do create, even if you do it right, you are going to damage your body getting in that kind of condition, and so you need to know that, and you know how to come out of that. That's number one, because I've already now seen several women who I'm working with who've done some pretty bad damage to their metabolic systems, to their gut, to their health in general. And number two, realize that there's going to be you have to withstand some damage to your psyche, because you're going to restrict so much, because you have a specific date, because it has to be so perfect at the time when you go off and that motivation is gone, that competition's over, it's going to flip you a little bit into a tailspin. And so be very aware when you enter into that world, that you're going to be doing those things, so that you can at least approach it with a little bit more of awareness.
Well, then you're also going to be judged by somebody who's going to tell you that your lats aren't big enough, your legs are too small. If
you're not emotionally ready to handle criticism,
that's right.
It's not a fucking sport for you.
And not only that, but to be okay with it, it could be a bunch of bullshit too, because the judge is
so subjective.
The judge could be sleeping with one of the fucking girls that's up on stage, and he cares more about her getting a trophy than he cares about you getting a trophy. And even though you fucking have a better physique, you may not get it, and you may be told it's because you don't have round enough shoulders. But you know what I'm saying? Like, you got to be ready for all that and be okay with that, and like knowing what you're getting into. And I think the first prerequisite to that is like, just diet yourself, just train, just hold yourself accountable to this, and see the pitfalls, see the challenge that you have, so you're aware of it when you decide to go and play the sport. I mean, like, prepare yourself a little bit.
Cat Bowl is asking, what is the most important aspect of personal care?
Personal care?
Cat Bowl.
Our own personal care. Wow. What does it say? What is our most
what is the most important aspect of personal care? I would say.
Are we personal? Each one personal, or
No,
is this like
I think maybe just what we think.
is there a
people need to
the?
have.
Is there a the?
You know, I would say I'm trying to think of something that would kind of encompass everything, right? I think really understanding and caring for yourself on a true and accurate level, because that will guide your decisions. That will guide your food. That'll guide your nutrition. That'll guide the relationships that you allow yourself to have. You know, a lot of people are in these relationships with either friends or, you know, significant others where they're destructive. You know, they take away from you. They beat you down. They can be abusive. And the core of that is you don't care about yourself enough to not be around that person. That's really what the bottom line is. And so I know it's a lot of personal responsibility. And it sucks because people feel stuck in some of these situations.
So the most important aspect is caring.
Just really caring about yourself is where I would put it. I mean,
That's funny because
in a true way.
Yeah.
I was going to go the opposite way, and
You want like more physical stuff?
No, I was going to say no. Originally, I was thinking like baby wipes and making sure you take care of your asshole. That's what I thought you meant, like hygiene.
I
and
know,
like
exactly. This is like a hygiene question to me.
You took it like as in personal care.
I'm trying to think of something that'll cover all that.
Yeah, well, I guess that's maybe been probably the question is this because
you went deep, man.
He's probably right because I know our topics lately have been kind of this direction of like awareness and you know taking care of yourself and you know here's one. So first of all, great book.
I was like trim them nose hairs.
You know what I mean? The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. I just posted it on my Instagram recently, and I think that's an excellent book when you ask a question like this. And actually what I liked about the book, it was quite opposite of what most self-help type books would be like, where it is, you know, love yourself, this and that. And it was more like, stop giving a fuck, you know, stop giving a fuck about everything and letting all those things affect you and embrace your insecurities and embrace the things that challenge you most. And so my advice to the best thing you could do for personal care, and I think Justin is really good at this too. Like I think all of us are. I think that's one of the things that we're I think are attracted to each other is that everybody is very growth minded, and we face the things that we know we're not good at. So I am not afraid. It's crazy, but you have to learn to flip this on its head, because in my early 20s, I did not love this. I did not love being told that I wasn't good at something, or my all the things that I was insecure about, right? Or that whatever it was, I didn't like it when I was younger. Now as an adult, I love it. I embrace it.
I think you build up the resiliency towards it, right?
Yes, and
it takes time.
You know, it creates growth, and that's what it takes you. You know, it's going to take you, which was a lot of the history behind the company Level Up that Justin and I were first originally started before we met Sal was. And Doug was, you know, that's what Level Up stood for, was that I was always looking for this next level of growth and trying to put myself in these uncomfortable positions to level up. And so I feel like, you know, the best thing you could do to care about yourself is to actually be seeking out these things that you're most uncomfortable with and facing them. I think we spend so much time trying to hide or avoid them, or, you know, or ignore them, or deny them. And instead of that, like, oh, wow, like really pay attention to things that state change you, that make you feel different, whether it be positive or negative. Do not neglect to pay attention to that and then address it. And by address it, I mean like internally address it, like, whoa, Sal just said
and understand how you're addressing it each time, you know, like what steps you're taking, and then you can really start to see how this all plays out, you know, as you pay more close attention to your everyday habits, your everyday decision making, you know, the things that somebody says that affects you a certain way, like how you react, like all these things. You just start to really take a critical look and dive deeper as far as like what makes you and like how you interact with your environment. And once you start paying closer attention to that, it's like it's very eye-opening, and then you see what benefits you the most. I mean, it's right there in front of you.
It takes it does take the awareness to be able to say to yourself, like, I'm not good at this, or I don't like this, because there's a lot of things we avoid that we don't realize that we avoid.
That's a really hard part to do.
That's a very, very difficult one. Like, you know, I have a tendency to do my taxes on the last fucking day. I do this every year, right? And I had to really talk to this realization, like, yeah, I hate them so bad, but I do them anyway. Why don't I just do them?
Why don't you just do them early?
Yeah, why don't I and just do it, like kind of just force myself and face that type of thing and get more organized with it. And there's a lot of things that, that I have in my life like that where I'll put things off or I won't do them because I don't like doing them or they make me uncomfortable. And now what I'm trying to do is, okay, if this really makes me uncomfortable, gotta have to do it anyway. I'm gonna just do it right now.
Well, and
boy, does it feel better.
Let's go further though, which I know you have this ability to do that. I think where people really miss is because of all that. So let's say that's Sal's thing, right? Then what normally happens is it puts him in a bad mood, and then maybe he snaps at like his wife or his kid or his partner, and he is blaming that person for whatever stupid little thing they're doing, right? Mm-hmm. And in reality, it's really this thing that's buried deep, that it's something that he procrastinates, he puts off, that's now affecting him that way. That's what I mean by...
Because it causes you some form of anxiety.
Yes.
So it's like sort of a protection process where it's like you're not going to address it till now I have to address it. Because it's like, taxes especially, I can kind of voice into this because it definitely does the same thing with me. But I figured it out. It's like it's the unknown of it. And so once you really start to dive into knowing it more in depth, as far as
Absolutely.
Here's the process. Okay, I got to write this all out first. So next year I'm going to get on top of this early. Step one is to fill it all out, send it off to this person, and you start managing. So now it becomes more known and more expected. And you get into those numbers of so it's not so uncertain, because the uncertainty of it is what gives the most anxiety, right? Like oh my God, now what am I going to have to pay?
Well, let's talk about too, how amazing that feels when you flip that on its head too. When you actually turn it into a strength of yours, that now it's something that you used to procrastinate, you avoid, you didn't like, that you said, you know what, I'm going to fucking embrace this. I'm going to solve this. I'm going to be ready for this. And then the following year when that comes around, and the feeling that you'll get, you'll be like, whoa, that was fucking A.
It's way better.
I allowed all that stress on myself because it's something that either one was an insecurity or I don't want to deal with, whatever it may be, whatever the reason, doesn't matter. It's the fact that that's something that's causing you. And this is what self-care is really about, in my opinion, is learning to see these things that create shifts in your state, and then learning and backtracking and diving into what caused it, and then what can I do differently?
What are the favorable reactions? What's the better process I can utilize?
You learn to do that. I'll tell you right now, you'll be taking real good fucking care of yourself.
Or you could just get the wipes.
Yeah,
or that.
Just wipes.
Check it out, mindpumpmedia.com.
Shave your pubes.
30 days of coaching, still for free. And we've now added studies to back up a lot of the things that we talk about in the 30 days of coaching. That's all at mindpumpmedia.com. Also, if you want to ask us a question and you want us to answer it on our Qua episodes, this is what you do. Go to Instagram, go to Mind Pump Media, and post a question underneath the Qua memes. We post them up.
Hashtag Qua.
Hashtag Qua. We post them up twice a week. And ask a question underneath it. If we like it, then we will talk about it on our show. And you can find my personal page at Mind Pump Sal, Adam's at Mind Pump Adam, and Justin is at Mind Pump Justin.
Thank you for listening to Mind Pump. If your goal is to build and shape your body, dramatically improve your health and energy, and maximize your overall performance, check out our discounted RGB Super Bundle at mindpumpmedia.com. The RGB Super Bundle includes MAPS Anabolic, MAPS Performance, and MAPS Aesthetic. 9 months of phased expert exercise programming designed by Sal, Adam, and Justin to systematically transform the way your body looks, feels, and performs. With detailed workout blueprints and over 200 videos, the RGB Super Bundle is like having Sal, Adam, and Justin as your own personal trainers, but at a fraction of the price. The RGB Super Bundle has a full 30-day money-back guarantee, and you can get it now, plus other valuable free resources at mindpumpmedia.com. If you enjoy this show, please share the love by leaving us a 5-star rating and review on iTunes, and by introducing Mind Pump to your friends and family. We thank you for your support, and until next time, this is Mind Pump.